White slumps to the mat. The Caucasity! I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Collision from Grand Rapids, Michigan. A couple more stops until AEW Wrestle Dream next Sunday. And I'm going to be at Collision and Wrestle Dream. I'm really excited, even though driving in and out of Seattle and around Seattle and just Seattle in general can be a goddamn nightmare. But I'm going to be at both shows with two best friends. It's going to be goddamn great. I'm really fucking thrilled. As for this show, well, it certainly ended in a bloody, brutal fashion. And we got a little more teasing of what could happen with the TNT Championship. A little tantalizing. Okay, I don't know what I'm on about. I'm very tired. Let's get to this. So, according to WrestleTix, around 3,800 fans in a 12K arena. Please run smaller arenas unless you are going to plan ahead and actually, help amplify the fact that you are running these NBA-sized arenas and actually draw a decent crowd. And no figures for AEW Collision for next Saturday. No figures yet. Wrestle Dream has been sitting around 5,000 tickets, and I really hope that the Seattle faithful and the surrounding areas are really loud. I'm really excited. Even being down on some of the product, I'm fucking thrilled because I had a blast at Dynamite. And even though I've had my issues with AEW programming, throughout the entire year, there have been some great high points, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, the pre-taped Starks says that Danielson has not been able to tap him out. I had a badly timed pause there. Dasha as the ring announcer. This is a good thing. Darby took on Christian and Luchosaurus. I'm sorry, it's Darby versus Christian versus Luchosaurus. It is not a handicap match. It's a three-way. In the sense that, something involving a couple wrestlers tag teaming another wrestler. And a number of years ago, spunking on the belt was a three-way. So anyway, Darby basically decided to use some white powder. He stole some of Tony Khan's stash and said, Luchosaurus, catch! And then Darby proceeded to get bounced around the ring. And in the ring and into the rail, and Darby is bound determined not to walk by the age of 40. There's a great goddamn sign. Where did the money go, Colin Thompson? If you know, you know. Colin Thompson of Cast Media, you piece of fucking shit. Darby does fire back, but we get more teasing of Luchosaurus holding the TNT Championship like, wait a second, I won this. I should be champion. And then Christian's like, no, I'm the champion. We're the champion. Please don't do this to me. I'm an old man. I can't really do much anymore. And there was a title shot to the head for 2, a coffin drop. But Christian throws Darby out of the ring and then covers Luchosaurus 1, 2, 3. So Luchosaurus loses the TNT Championship to Christian. Okay. And we get a little bit of a, way, that we're going to go for Wrestle Dream, which is certainly going to be interesting. So, we also get a tease of a split between Luchosaurus and Christian. Callis says, Kenny, your care for Ibushi makes you weak. It makes you weak, Skywalker, yes. So anyway, he says, it's going to be Takeshita, Sammy, and Ospreay against Kenny, Jericho, and Ibushi. That's some star power. And Sammy is also there. That is going to be interesting. They are really desperately going to try to make Sammy a top heel. The problem is, they're going to find out what everybody has known for a few years. Sammy will not get out of his own way, and Sammy is here, and they're trying to put him to here. That being said, the crowd will certainly be electric. There is a lot of star power there. Takeshita versus Ibushi, that's going to be an interesting program. So Shivani is with Christian and Luchosaurus. He mentions Nick Wayne's mom and Nick Wayne's dad watching from high above. And Tony Khan announced during the commercial break, instead of saying, thanks guys, it's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNT Championship, Christian versus Darby. Interesting. Very interesting. I expect that we're going to get some kind of shenanigans. Maybe we get Darby winning the TNT Championship again in Seattle like he did against Samoa Joe to start off the AEW calendar year, shockingly. So then we get Hook and RVD, Hooker VD, as I'm going to call them. Really skating around that right there. A name that is just going to spread far and wide. against 2.0 with Hager and Anna Jay, accompanied by Jake Hager. That is a depressing and unfortunate sentence. Anna Jay looks great, I will say that much. She certainly tried to make the most of her appearances here, interfering, distracting, all that. RVD chants. I did like how they got the Pantera song for Pantera. I make it sound like Pantera song for RVD. This was a match. RVD kicks a chair into Jake Hager's face. It's not going to knock any sense into Jake Hager or his stupid twat wife. But we get the red rum on one and a 5-star frog splash on the other, and that's it. That's your lot right there. Who is the legal person? Who cares? Hooker VD1. Package on Eddie Kingston becoming a double champion. Excuse me. Allergy season. Goddamn bitch. He will face Shibata. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for ruining the name Shibata. If Chris is watching this, he knows. He's going to face him next Sunday. Eddie also is dealing with injuries and had to pull out of an indie booking going on right as I'm recording in Seattle. It's unfortunate, but you know what? He's getting big money. He's got commitments with AEW, Ring of Honor, even though they're under the same umbrella, and New Japan. So you know what? They take top priority. Probably should have happened, maybe. Probably should have revealed that he wasn't going to be there a little bit sooner, but nevertheless. Eddie's health is top priority. Why is Dark Order still here? That's all I have to say. The Kingdom, they want to take down the Best Friends, and Mike Bannon is bound determined to punch people in the wiener. So I can't blame him there, I guess. It's a members-only team. So anyway, is Julia Hart singing her theme? I'm asking. Somebody on Twitter, and I forget the name, I apologize for not writing it down if you happen to be watching this. It sounded like Florence and the Machine. It did. Maybe it is. Maybe the dog days aren't over. And maybe you're going to run for your mother, run for your father, run for your sister and your brother, and screw up the lyrics all the time because I'm going to leave this reference behind. Julia Hart took on Kira Hogan. Willow Nightingale apparently wasn't medically cleared or something. Now, even though she showed up on Rampage Grand Slam, which I did review because it was requested, that was taped on Wednesday, so maybe something happened. Hopefully Willow's all right. So Kira Hogan versus Julia Hart. Julia Hart won. And I give credit for both of them trying to make the most of it. Julia Hart won. Kept the Heartless lock on. Sky Blue showed up. Sky Blue got a big old facial from Julia Hart. That is the second most violent facial I have seen involving two young women in a wrestling ring on camera. You don't want to know about the first. Delete your search history, folks. And then Brody basically, grabs the mic, tries to get the crowd amped up because this crowd was dead quiet during this match. At least that's how it came across on TV. If you were in attendance, was the crowd actually somewhat into this? And Julia challenged Chris Statlander because Statlander beat Julia, and that's the only blemish she's had on her record recently. And then the Righteous are around a gazebo and are going to take the ROH tag titles. I don't know what the snapping thing is, but they're trying to make it work. Andrade, El Olio, took on Jay White. And the Club is in the corner. This match needed more people shouting at ringside. It was well worked. My problem is I don't really have a reason to care about either of these guys. They laid shit in. Andrade's chest was a couple shades of purple at some points. That was pretty hard. And there was a cluster moonsault, holy shit chance. And that's when White slumps to the match. Caucasity, I say. And we get some close 2 counts, very close 2 counts. Interference, Juice brutally fists Andrade, while Andrade has Jay White all tied up, and Jay White hits the Blade Runner 1, 2, 3. Jay was favoring his knee. I hope he was selling just because of the move. Hopefully he's all right. And then Ortiz says, well, I feel used, and Santana, you talk a lot of shit, but you never said it to my face, so we're going to do something about this. I imagine it will happen at Wrestle Dream. If it doesn't, it's already kind of a load of pay-per-view, so we'll see. And by the way, my Wrestle Dream predictions will probably be up sometime after Dynamite in a few days. That is only because I'm not going to wait until after Rampage to do them. I'm going to try and rest a little bit on that Friday if I can, because I'm going to be before I dive into the Wrestle Review, I'm going to be working early, about 6.5 hours, Saturday morning into the early afternoon. And then I'm going to drive down to Seattle, meet one of my best friends. We're going to watch a show. Probably not going to have much of a voice. I'll have my phone charged, so I'll, tweet out the results and tweet out the stuff and everything and talk about things in full later. But the Collision review will probably not be up until way late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. That's your fair warning right there. And my voice will probably be shot. I'll try to get some sleep. Got to work another 6.5 hours and then go pick up a best friend. Another best friend. A little bit of a tease there as to what best friend it will be. And then drive to Seattle for Wrestle Dream. Really excited for that. Voice is really going to be shot. Hopefully the pay-per-view doesn't go 5 goddamn hours. Drive home, review it, have a shot voice, and then see what happens Monday. God, that Raw review is going to be just insane. Anyway, back to AEW. So, Shane Taylor wants to get at Lee, a.k.a. Keith Lee, and says, you're going to face Moriarty. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's going to be a match at some point. Either on Dynamite or on the pre-show. I don't actually know. They're going to have the match at some point. Aussie Open in suits to join commentary. Kyle Fletcher in a suit. Stop thinking about it, Noah. I know you're thinking about it. Just stop it. Get some help. Noah's going to hate me if he sees this. FTR gets a pop. FTR takes on the Work Horsemen. JD Drake and Anthony Henry. The crowd was chanting, who are you, apparently. And then we're getting pops a little bit later. And that's, to be fair, the Work Horsemen haven't exactly been featured a ton. JD Drake, while some people may find his look off-putting, and I put that in quotations because his look works. He's a throwback to territory wrestling. He can move. He can work. Anthony Henry is good. And looks are deceiving. JD Drake is a very good athlete. And proved it here. Hit a hell of a goddamn moonsault to a tremendous pop. But then FTR got the victory pretty soon after. I still think FTR should team up with Pinky and the Brain. FT Narf! Now that everybody has stopped watching the review because of that deep cut, unexpected reference. So, the Aussie Open, no, I'm kidding. Aussie Open say they're going to win next Sunday. And Dax, he wants the best in Seattle. You want the best? We will bring you the best crowd energy. So, Lexi is with CJ. This ground to a goddamn halt. CJ is going to manage a bunch of people and not Miro. Miro will stay out of her way, and Miro needs to stay out of the way of the clients she's going to manage. This is not a good idea. I'm sorry. This is not a good idea. This reeks of we're just going to hire anybody that Vince had. Like Larry Sabisco said, if Vince got rid of him, that's just because he's done with him. They ain't drawing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have Vince's guy. I mean, good if they can make this work, but I don't see it. I just don't. And I like Miro. So anyway, Dynamite and Collision rundown, Wrestle Dream rundown. JR joins for the main event with all the enthusiasm you expect from JR at this point. And I know he's had health issues. I'm glad he has a cancer-free diagnosis. And I know his energy level can dip because he's been doing this for so goddamn long. But goddamn it, somebody's got to just tell JR, we'll use you as a consultant. We'll use you for interviews. Something. Voiceovers, whatever. He should not be doing commentary anymore. He just shouldn't. I'm sorry. It is time. It is time. So anyway, Danielson took on Starks. Texas Death Match. You have to answer a 10 count. Basically, the original Texas Death Match was it's unlimited falls, and after a fall, somebody, I believe, has 10 seconds to rise back to their feet. Is it 10 seconds or 30 seconds? Because all these things get varied around. The whole point is you have to cover somebody, get a 3 count, and then they have a limited amount of time to get up. Now, they took it seriously, but then they went outside, into the crowd, up the steps. During the break, well, not during the break, this was before the break, they bowed back. Danielson got shoved into the front row and was kind of sandwiched in between the chairs and the people. He seemed like he was struggling. Security went over there to get him. And this was a cluster. And then Starks dives on the security, knocking the security into the people and him going into the people. That's a great way to get about 3 or 5 lawsuits going. I mean, yes, I know fans can be part of the show. I've had to get out of the way of some stuff at indie shows, but good God. And I'm not blaming Starks. Somebody has to have some control there. That was a little dangerous. Grand Texas Death. But you can do stuff to each other, but just take it a little bit easy. Brian got busted open during the break. We got chair shots from both, and then the biting the cut, bloodborne diseases, and certain things. Maybe we could leave that in the territory days and in Puerto Rico and Japan. Chain usage, there was a choke by both for Starks choked Danielson. Danielson choked Starks. And then they were just hammering each other, boom, boom, boom. Headbutting, could have done without the headbutting, but you know what, that's what Danielson wants to do. And then he hit the bukkake knee on him, right in the face. Big old splatter right in the face. And Starks was bleeding because he got hit. A chain got involved. He got hit with the bukkake knee and the chair in the face. And the chain got used. A chain knee. Cheney, not Dick Cheney. Okay, that was a missed opportunity. And then he ends up hitting that knee. And then basically, Starks can't get back up. Danielson wins, and there we are. So a decent episode of Collision, a few things to talk about. But yes, for Collision and Wrestle Dream next weekend, apologies in advance for the shot voice that I'm going to have. But I'm super excited to see if the shows are absolutely worth it. I don't mind spending the money. I just really hope the crowds are kind of decent size, because if not, they may not run a show in Seattle for a while. They might not run a show in Seattle in 2024 if they don't draw well. Let's see. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rittland. I'll see you soon.